Good evening. This is Saturday's news. I'm Jasmine Irojak. In this edition, K92 mine records a positive 2025. Sponges pose danger on coral reefs. And tribes sign peace agreement. K92 Mining, the operator of the Kainantu gold mine in Eastern Highlands province, has released its full-year results this week, recording 174,134 ounces of gold equivalent produced in the 2025 financial year, with record annual financial results. This translated to an income of $595 million US. That's 2.4 billion kina.
K92 Gold Mine released its 2025 annual results on Monday, 2nd March 2026, boasting another positive year. It reported a total production of 174,134 ounces of gold equivalent in 2025, with 47,178 ounces of gold equivalent produced in Q4 of the same year. The completion of commissioning of the new 1.2 million tons per annum Stage 3 expansion process plant also contributed to this growth. K92 Mining's Chief Executive Officer, John Lewins, said the Stage 3 expansion will now increase the mine's processing capacity, marking a new phase of sustainable growth. Meantime, the company, as part of its annual report, outlined key areas of payment to the PNG government and its people in the 2025 financial year. It included 423 million kina paid or accrued as corporate tax, 50 million kina paid or accrued as royalties, 11 million kina paid to MRA as levies, and 667 million kina spent on local suppliers, among others. K92 also invested capital back in the business to strengthen its operation. It included a 862 million kina capital investment to advance Stage 3 expansion and 74 million kina invested on exploration activities. Ruth Rungula, TV1 News.
Coral reef conservation in Papua New Guinea has become a concern lately, as revealed by a recent expedition in the country by Tara Expedition, supported by the Irish government's Shared Oceans Initiative. The expedition was led by Professor Olivia Homas in February, who visited Kimbe Bay and put Mosby Seas with deep research into coral-sponge interactions, their ecological impact, and their implications on marine conservation. Michael Tamti-Pais reporting.
The expedition was designed to look into the interactions of coral and sea sponge, its impacts and implications that would have on marine conservation work in the country. Initial report indicated that sea sponge have grown significantly in the waters of Kimbe Bay and Lolo Waters area, which pose a great risk of coral reef. The research was done in Kimbe Bay in West New Britain Province and Lolowata Island in Central Province by Professor Oliver Homas and team. Some sponge species produce toxins that can kill corals. One clear effect would be the reduction of fish population. Following this expedition, Professor Homas revealed that there is an extremely high sponge diversity, far more species observed than previously documented in the country.
Possible collaborations, training of students, building capacities as well in the university, but also really building strong foundations around the knowledge of the biodiversity you guys have in this area, right? So for example, we visited yesterday the island of Loloata, very close to Port Moresby, and then the diversity of sponges is very equivalent to what we saw in Kimbe Bay. So we are planning now to apply what we really have in mind in terms of studying the sponge diversity, but also the negative possible interactions of these sponges on the corals, okay, especially due to climate change, to the expansion, the proliferation of some species that are certainly detrimental to the coral.
Sponges also play a vital role, act as natural water filters, recycling nutrients through the sponge loop. However, only when in balance with coral populations. While in country, Professor Homas visited UPND's biology department and discussed plans to have its biology students train in that area and build more scientific capacity. He also appealed to key policymakers in the country to look into the issues of potential coral reduction and create international partnerships to monitor ecosystems closely to protect biodiversity. Michael Tamtipais, TV1 News.
Digicel PNG has signed a contract with the National Information and Communications Technology Authority, NICTA, to roll out the Connect the Schools project, aimed at expanding broadband access to schools across Papua New Guinea. The agreement was signed in Port Moresby yesterday with support from the National Procurement Commission. The 2-year project is funded through the Universal Access and Service Fund with an investment of 1.4 million kina. It will provide fixed broadband, internet, equipment and software to 7 secondary schools nationwide. Schools in Madang, Simbu, Oro, Milne Bay, Manus, West New Britain and Bougainville will benefit. Digicel PNG Chief Executive Officer Tariq Bodiaf says connectivity is a powerful tool that will help students across access learning resources and participate in the modern digital economy. The project supports the government's digital transformation agenda. The Papua New Guinea Defence Force Long-Range Reconnaissance Unit commemorated its 30th anniversary on Friday, the 6th of March 2026. The milestone was marked by the LRRU conducting a demonstration of their specialist skills to dignitaries at Goldie River Training Depot.
The LLRU is an elite unit within the PNGDF who train rigorously to perform complex operations. They must be able to work effectively in small teams in challenging and diverse environments. The LRRU have supported major PNGDF activities and operations, including leading Talisman Sabre 2025 exercises conducted in Papua New Guinea and completing the most challenging section of the Bulldog Track for Exercise Antaplong All 2025 to celebrate PNG's 50 years of independence. Friday's capability demonstration was attended by Chief of the PNGDF, Rear Admiral Philip Polewara, the Australian Assistant Defence Advisor Lieutenant Colonel Simone Heyer, and US Defence Advisor Colonel Isaac Baskins, in addition to other senior PNGDF members. The demonstration included members of the LRRU rappelling out of a Bell 412 helicopter and conducting a live firing exercise. The unit demonstrated close personal protection for a VIP in a vehicle that comes under attack before extracting the VIP safely. Senior members of the LRRU provided briefings on the history of the unit and a static demonstration of equipment used by the LRRU in training and operations. Carol Kidu Jr., TV1 News.
You're watching TV1 News. Stay with us for the day's other stories after these messages. Welcome back. After 3 months of fierce tribal fighting in Eastern Highlands province, 2 communities in Kamano local level government finally signed a ceasefire peace agreement in Kainantu Township.
The agreement was signed on Thursday between the tribes of Yamaso, Ataya and Oyana from Ward 6 and Onamuga, Konakapinega and Iceland Mountains from Ward 5.
Something you can make him slightly shook a big plan. And you'll be taking another step more. And as you get a place, me like talk, take you to Papa's group and how you last up after signing. Please me like you will stop again. Looks happen of one effect, one pain, suffering that they come up inside. You are experiencing. Experience after experience for the rest of life. I'm saying it by come up.
The conflict started when youths from Onamuga allegedly stole bags of sweet potatoes that were ready to be sold at markets in Kainantu and Lae. What began as a small dispute quickly escalated into a full-scale tribal war that lasted for 3 months.
Yamaso, Onamuga, Pechat Limi of Yukiri Limi Mr. Not for 50 years, we like what's the begin, we must develop na senis na stop. Now develop na senis. Peace, na harmony, law and order, that's all I'm saying, bring it to peace. Peace agreement over here. You don't make a mistake to community blame. You can't sign him so that you like him future you and pride.
During the fighting, homes were burnt, coffee gardens destroyed, and domestic animals killed. Properties worth thousands of kina were lost.
Fight, stop. And pain to the bad. That is the pain corona. You blast it with me a much main garden. Now, me a much long witness to. Big money no give no money plus stop. Fight below and narrow narrow. Papers lonely one month and stop long big man.
Essential services were also affected. Schools closed, preventing children from completing the 2025 academic year. The Onamuga Health Center and the Community Health Worker Nursing School were also forced to shut down, forcing sick patients to travel to Kainantu and Okapa for treatment. Church leaders from the Salvation Army and other denominations played an important role in mediating peace between the two tribes.
No man will not fight. You can win something too. You may not win, you can win, you may not win. Then you may go back and pick the challenge by example, 2 plus 9 to attack. Fight any of good plus something, please.
Witnessing the agreement were Kainantu District Development Authority CEO Dick Pena, police, government officials, and community leaders. Leaders say the peace agreement is a step toward rebuilding communities and restoring services affected during the conflict. Carol Kidu Jr., TV1 News.
St. Barbara's Simberi Gold Company has successfully observed the 2026 National Mine Safety Week, with employees and contractors actively participating in a series of safety-focused activities from the 2nd to the 6th of March, held under the national theme Building and Sustaining an Effective Safety System and Culture. This year's initiative encouraged a proactive zero-harm mindset and reinforced the industry's commitment to strengthening workplace safety practices.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
St. Barbara's Simberi Gold Company employees took part in workplace awareness sessions, emergency response drills, inter-department games and competitions, and school-based community initiatives throughout the week, all aimed at promoting safety awareness both on and off site. National Mine Safety Week is an annual event sanctioned by the Mineral Resource Authority. It is designed to strengthen Papua New Guinea's mining safety culture through education, training, and targeted risk management activities. Speaking at the opening ceremony, SGCL Executive General Manager Randy McMahon emphasized the importance of disciplined safety behaviors and the need to avoid shortcuts that undermine established safety controls.
Is building and sustaining an effective safety system and culture. If you look back at the incidents that we've had here, the serious incidents, the people we've hurt, most of them occurred not because we didn't have safety systems. We have very good safety systems in terms of SOPs, GHAs, permits to work, the Take 3s. A lot of the incidents we had were behaviors where people bypassed those systems, they were in a hurry, or they just chose not to use those systems.
SGCL recorded multiple workplace injuries in recent years, pushing its TRIFR close to 4.0. However, through improved performance and strengthened safety initiatives, the company has now reduced its TRIFR to below its FY26 target, an outcome that the company says reflects the success of its Safety Always program and the commitment of its workforce. The Safety Always initiative, an employee-led program driven by workplace opinion leaders, focuses on behavior-based safety and encourages staff to adopt practices that reduce risk and prevent incidents. The ceremony also featured a moment of silence in honor of fallen employees across the mining industry. Simberi Gold Company says it remains committed to creating a safe and sustainable working environment, continues to prioritize safety as a core value to ensure every employee and contractor returns home safely. Michael Tamtipais, TV1 News.
Salle Technical Secondary School has commenced the year with a cultural show with the aim to engage students in cultural performances. Hosted at the Sir John Guy Stadium today, hundreds of city residents turned up to watch students celebrate cultural heritage and promote pride in traditional values. Cultural shows are normally held around September as lead-up activities to the Independence Day. But Salle Secondary took a different approach. They hosted theirs today with the ultimate aim to engage students at the start of the school year. Principal Brother Anthony Sami Pankras shared the reason behind this.
The reason why the Salle Technical Secondary School have a cultural show is it's a time for all of our Papua New Guinean, especially the young people, to know and revitalizing our culture and heritage. That's our theme. So we want the young people, because they tend to forget their own culture and tradition. So we thought that as a school student, so we promote our culture again and give life to our culture and heritage. That's one of the reasons we wanted to have a cultural show.
He said this event also gives the students the opportunity to revitalize culture and heritage.
So we had it in the beginning of the year so that the students can be able to concentrate on their studies.
Brother Anthony is satisfied with the turnout, describing it as a good start to the school year.
We have a total number of 1,200 plus students. We have 1,007 students have been taking part in the cultural dancing. The rest of the students, 100 plus students, were the marshals. So almost every student and every teacher and the staff of Salle are here. So we had four regions representation, total of 25 dances.
Turning overseas, as the cost of living crisis stretches budgets across the country, in remote Australia, Indigenous residents say they're struggling so badly that many families are regularly going hungry. A federal government subsidy scheme has reduced the price of some groceries in some remote community stores. Residents said it's helped a bit, but are calling for more help.
$9.80 for hot dogs, $17 for a canned pie.
The prices are too high and we can't afford to pay all that.
Many of Warrawee 500 locals think twice before they go shopping. The only community-owned shop uses its profits to subsidise fruit, vegetables and meat, but it's not enough.
We don't want the baby to go hungry, the little one.
Australia's competition watchdog found grocery prices soared 24% in the last 5 years. In remote areas, prices were already double those in the cities.
Because of the freight, it cost a fortune to bring the groceries here.
A federal government scheme which subsidises the cost of 60 essential groceries to match city prices has rolled out in 100 remote Indigenous communities. In Warrawee, it's dropped canned stew to $4, shampoo to $2, and taken canned veg down to a few dollars.
So it's really bringing down the prices of the base products, things like your flour, meat.
People here in Goulburn Island say the federal government's subsidies on some groceries are helping, but many families are still struggling to afford enough food.
There's a lot of young children out here that don't get to eat every day because of the affordability costs.
In a region where a majority are reliant on federal government welfare benefits, local leaders want payments increased.
The government have to start looking at people on Centrelink to increase their wages because it's not fair,
We want to feed our children to go to school healthy, strong, every day.
It's something many find difficult to do now.
Sports is next. I'll join you with all your news in sports after the break. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying with us. Papua New Guinea will face Fiji tomorrow in a decisive Group B clash of the FIFA Women's World Cup 2027 Oceania qualifiers. The Papua New Guinea women's national football team will take on the Fiji Kulas to determine who finishes top of Group B. Both teams have already secured qualification to round 3 after remaining unbeaten in their group matches. The game will kick off at 12 p.m. at Fore Stadium. Will free entry for fans. The match will also finalize the semi-final lineup where the New Zealand women's national football team and the American Samoa women's national football team have already progressed from Group A. Officials say the match is expected to deliver an exciting contest between two strong Pacific teams. Sports administrators and former athletes are strengthening their leadership skills through a training program organized by the Papua New Guinea Olympic Committee. The national team manager course delivered under the Oceania Sport Education Program is bringing together participants from various sporting codes and organizations across the country. Representatives from federations, government agencies and sports bodies, including the National Capital District Commission and the PNG Sports Foundation, are participating. The course focuses on the role of team managers in planning and managing sporting events, including budgeting, communication, athlete welfare, and governance. Participants are currently working through the first phase of the program before moving to implementation and post-event planning. The training will conclude on March the 14th and 15th with final assessments and project submissions. And that ends the sports segment. We'll now have the weather forecast. Regional forecast: Southern, Port Moresby partly cloudy with chances of few showers. Alotau partly cloudy. Momase, late cloudy periods, then some rain showers. Madang, cloudy periods, then some rain showers. New Guinea Islands, Kokopo-Rabaul partly cloudy with few showers. Kimbe, cloudy periods with some rain. And Highlands region, Goroka, Banz and Kundiawa, cloudy periods with rain showers, then scattered morning fog. Ocean forecast: Coral Sea, seas moderate to rough, with northwesterly winds of 15 to 20 knots, reaching 25 to 35 knots at times. Solomon Sea, seas light to moderate, with northeast to easterly winds of 10 to 20 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas light to moderate, with east to southeast winds of 10 to 20 knots. Pacific Ocean, seas light to moderate, with easterly to southeast winds of 10 to 20 knots. And coastal waters forecast: waters of southern PNG Indonesian border to Daru to Kiwai Island to Kerma to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samarai Island. Seas 1 to 2 meters, rising to 3 meters at times along strong wind warning areas. Waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel and all Milne Bay Islands, sea 0.5 to 1.5 meters. And that ends TVWAN News. Thanks for watching. Good night.